Dear learners, hello. Today we are going to start the part 2 of lecture 7, methods in C#. Already we discussed about the methods, types of methods, how can we use method in our program. We have discussed 3 examples for this: non-parameterized method, non-returning value, non-parameterized method, returning value, parameterized method, returning value. These 3 different ways we already discussed in the last lecture, part 1. Today in part 2 we are going to discuss how to get the values to the data members of the class and how to display the data to the display screen. Now in this program example, we can understand easily how to initialize and display object data through methods. Here in this program, the first is using system. System is a root namespace. Now our own user defined data type class. We can see here we have one class student in this program and one class test student. 2 classes we have in this program. So first we discuss about the student class. In student class we can see here one integer type data id, second string type data name. We have 2 data members here, one integer type, one string type. With the help of insert, we can understand here this is a method insert, and inside the insert method we have 2 parameters. So it is a insert method parameterized. Non-returning value, we are using here void as a return type, so non-returning value parameterized method insert. Inside the insert method body we can see id initialized by the value I, name initialized by the value n. id and name are the data members of the class because these 2 are the data members of the class. I is the value to be receiving from the parameter of the insert method. N is the value to be receiving to the name data member from the value passed as a parameter to the insert method. So we can understand here these 2 data members receiving value from the parameters of the insert method. We have one more method here, display. Display method non-parameterized or default method. No argument we are passing to the display method, and non-returning value. No parameter, non-returning value. So void return type. So non-returning value, no parameter passing. We have here the public keyword to the insert method, to the display method. Public keyword is very much required for us because public keyword shows the visibility of the method outside the class. So we have one class student and one class test student. If we want to access our data members or member methods outside the class, we need to make it public. So because of this reason we made this particular method public, and insert method is also public. We will understand now. Inside the display method definition we have a console writeLine statement. WriteLine is a system defined method to display the output on the screen. All of you should be remember here always we are using C capital for console class, W capital for write, and L capital for line method. So here writeLine is a method, console is a class, system is a namespace. Inside system namespace we have a console class, and inside console class we have a writeLine definition of the method. So writeLine method is used to display on the screen. That's why we are using here the parameter id and name. id is a data member of the class, so it will receive the value from here, and name is the data member of the class again, and it will receive the value from the name. We are using to give the value from here and display the value from here. Always be remember this point. Insert method using to initialize the values and display method to output the values. Then close the method body and close the class. Come to the next class, test student. Inside the test student we have a main method. Main is the entry point of the program. Inside the main method we are creating object for the student class. We are creating here two objects, S1 and S2. Student, the first student is a user defined data type. Second student is a constructor of the class student. So here student S1 is the object of type student. Assignment operator. New is a keyword to allocate memory at runtime, and student constructor. Whenever we create an object of the class, we should call the constructor. Constructor will be invoked automatically by the compiler. We know very well, we studied in the constructor already. And to check more details about it, watch the lecture for constructors and destructors. Again we create an object in the same way for S2, and then S1 dot insert. It is a data abstraction. We discussed already in the object oriented programming in the lecture 1. So you can watch the particular lecture to see these details. S1 dot insert. Insert is a method name whatever we have inside the student class. So S1 is the object. This student class object will access the method from the student class, and we pass the value here as per the values we have as a parameter in our insert method. The first value integer type, so we are using here integer type value to be passing. Second value is string type, the second value is string type. String type value always be with the double quotes. Integer type value or any numeric value without any quote. No single quote, no double quote, but string type value always double quotes. Character type value always single quotes. Should be remember this point whenever you are writing a data values for the different type, integer, float, double and character. So here double quotes we are using for string type values. S2 insert for second student data. 102 is a integer type value and string type value Tom with double quotes. So we have insert the data for student 1 and we have insert the data for student 2. There is two objects for the student class. Now we want to display the data. How can we show the data whatever we have input? By using an insert method. So here 101 first going to I, and I initialize to ID, and ID will receive the value for student S1. Again for student S2 the same way for 102, and for string type value it will receive the string type value, and the same way it will take for name, S1 name or S2 name. So you can see here how much bytes consumed by the integer type value. Integer type value will consume 4 bytes. 4 bytes of memory consumed by the integer type value. And how much memory consumed by the string type value? It depends on the bit operating system you are using, 64-bit or 32-bit. For 64-bit it is consuming, sometimes it depends on the compiler or .NET framework also, it consumes 28 bytes or sometimes 24 bytes. But I'm just looking for 64 with the new version of the .NET framework. It consumes 28 bytes. So 28 bytes memory consumed for string type value and 4 bytes consumed for integer type value. So for S1 how much memory consumed? For S1 ID and name, S1.id and S1.name will consume 32 bytes of memory. How many objects you are creating in this test student class? For student class you are creating two objects. 32 bytes consumed for S1 and 32 bytes consumed for S2. You should be careful about how much memory will consume. It is not like that the memory will consume only one time. No, how many objects you are creating, accordingly the memory will consume every time for the particular data members of the class. So here data member you are seeing one time, but here it is for two times for id and two times for name. So it is s1.id, s1.name. Automatically the compiler will handle all the details. The same way s2.id and s2.name. So your memory of the system will be consumed 32 bytes for S1 and 32 bytes for S2. Total memory consumption in this program is 64 bytes. So you should be careful about. And then S1.display and S2.display. S1.display, the memory for assigned for S1, it will take the value from the data members of S1. So S1.id and S1.name having the value 101 and Ahmad. So this value will be displayed. The data members will giving the value to the id and name. This id and name will receive the value for s1.display. So s1.id and s1.name, whenever you are writing here s1.display, so the id 101 and the name Ahmad will display on the first output. Then s2.display, it will again jump to the display method, and it will jump to the display method again, and it will receive the value s2.id and s2.name. So that's why you are receiving the value 102 and Tom. This particular practice, this particular double quotes, we have given just to take a space between the values of id and name. So don't be confused with it. Just it is a space. So this is a string type value. So that's why we have taken here double quotes with the space. This is the, then close the main body and close the test student class. This is the full program, how to initialize the data members and how to display the value from the data members, and how to create an object to access the particular member methods and data members to initialize the value from the member method and display the value from the member method. This is the whole program. Come to the second. Here this program is also the same, just we have received here three data members. So you can understand here easily, it is not like that you are only capable to pass two data members as a parameter. You can pass as per your choice, how many requirement you have, accordingly you can use the data members of the class. So here is a class employee, id, name and salary. These are the three data members. And the same way the insert method, I integer type, string, n name string type, and float s is a floating type salary. So we have taken here three data members. We are using here three arguments for this insert method. Again the same way to initialize the data members of the class, I value going to id, n value going to name, s value going to salary. These data members having a value from the arguments of the insert method. Then close the method, come to the display method. In the display method, again we are using console write line statement to display the value on the screen, id, then space, name, then space, salary. These are the three data members value to be displaying on the screen. Close the method display and close the class employee. Come to the test employee. Again the main method is a main class. Where we have a main method, we can say a main class. Okay. So inside the main class, we have a two objects for the employee class, E1 and E2. The same way we have used student in the last program, the same way we are using in the employee class. This is a user defined data type employee, and these are the constructors of the employee class. E1.insert, pass the value. Here is a float type variable. So float type variable value, whenever you are giving, that time you need to put the small f all the time. So you should be careful about whenever you are writing a value for float or long type, that time For float you are using F, and for long you are using L. So don't be confused with this. This F will not be displayed on the screen, but as a programmer you should give the value with the F format for the floating point value. E1.insert, what type of value you are using for insert method? Integer, string and float. The same way you are using here, integer, string and float. For E2 also, integer, string and float. Then E1.display and E2.display, the same way it will prove the value to be displaying on the screen, and you will see the results here for the first object E1 and for the second object E2. The same way, just we are passing here one more variable, float type. After that, we will understand the important concept, passing array to a method. To pass array to a method, it is really very simple in C#. Just you need to reuse the array logic. Programmer can create a method, and to pass array to a method in C#, just provide the name of the array. In C#, to reuse the array logic, programmer can create method. To pass array to method in C#, just need to provide only array name. Just provide the name of the array to the method as an argument. You will see you pass the array to a method. This is the method name and the array name. This is a syntax, is a general syntax how to pass array to the method as an argument. Is example of passing array to method which prints the array elements. Here in this program we can understand public class array example. This is a class name. Class is a keyword to create a class. Static void print array. Here we are passing an array as an argument. This is the way to write an array in C#. This is an integer type array. This is a square bracket is a symbol of the array, and ARR is the name of the array. Console write line printing array elements, just to show to the user what the results will be going to display. Printing array elements is just a string value to display on the screen. Then we use the for loop here. This is a counter I of integer type initialized by 0. ARR.length. ARR.length is a array name. Dot length. Length is a property in the array to get the size of the array. So it will directly defines the size of the array here. You don't bother about what is the size of array. The length property automatically accesses the size of the array. Then I++, increment decrement. So it's an increment here. After that, inside the for loop, we have a statement console.writeLine ARRI. So it will display the value. For loop is always using for repetition of the same code. What is the repetition of the code? It starts with 0. I starts with 0 to the length of the array. So whatever the length of the array, less than the length of the array, it will be continue. ARRI means the first element of the array. ARR 0 is the first element of the array. Then it will be increased by 1. Then ARR 1. So it will be the second element of the array. As a loop, we can understand here the loop counter will be continue till the length minus 1. Okay. So close the loop, then close the class. Come to the main body. Close the method print array here. Okay. Then class we didn't close. Come to the main body. Inside the main body, we just initialize two array 1 and array 2. It is an integer type array, so we have taken an integer type array. The same type, whatever we are passing to the print array method, the same type we are using here. These are the values we have initialized in the array: 25, 10, 20, 15, 40 and 50. These are the 6 values. If we use here the index of the array, 25 at the 0 index, 10 is the 1 index, 20 is the 2 index, 15 is 3 index, 44 index, 55 index. 0 to 5 is the index. ARR2 is the second array of integer type. Here only the 5 elements. So 0 to 4 index for the array 2 elements. Here we can understand easily. We have taken one array with 6 elements and second array with 5 elements. So any number of elements you can pass to the array. After that, print array arr1, you pass array to the method. Whenever you pass array to the method, the first array means you pass all elements of the array to the method. Whenever you pass to the print array, it will directly call to the print array method. It is a calling part of the program. So it will be jump to the definition part. Here is a definition part. You are not creating object of this class. Why? Because you are using a static keyword. We already discussed about static is a keyword. After that, you don't bother about to create an object to call this method. So the program control is directly in the hand of the compiler. You are not creating an object for to calling this method because of the static keyword you used here. So print array arr1, here you pass the array 1. So array 1 all elements will be receiving as an argument here. Now console write line print array elements, it will show the print array elements. Then arr.length, it starts from 0, arr.length, the length is 6. So 0 to 5 less than 6. 0 to 5, it will be continue to print the value on the screen. Write line is a method to display the value on the screen. Arri will access the element from the location 0 to 5. So first is 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So it will access the element arr0, 25, then arr1, 10, 20, 15, 40, 50 till the length minus 1. Less than means length minus 1. So till the length minus 1, it will access the elements of the array. After that, the same way for arr2, we pass the name of the array of arr2 to the method print array, and again the method calling will be jump to the definition part, and here we pass arr2. So arr2 elements 12, 23, 44, 11, 54, 0 to 4. So here again the same way printing array elements. Then so 5 is the length of the array, and it is 0 to 4 will be the index. Okay, so arr 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It will receive the value. Arr 0 means 12, arr 1 means 23, is like that till the all elements to be traversed, to be accessed. Then close the main body and close the class array example. So this is the way to pass array to the method. Then passing array to method example, print minimum number. So here we have the same way, but we just change the logic here to find the minimum element of the array 1 and minimum element of the array 2. Here again the array example, we pass the array to the print minimum. So here integer type variable min we initialize by the first element of the array arr0. Then the loop from we access this loop from 1 to less than the array length. Why 1? Because the 0 element we already fixed to the variable min. So that's why we check from the 1. If minimum element means arr0 is greater than arri, the value of min will be initialized by the arri if it is greater. If it is smaller, the same value as it is will be having. It will be repeat, it will be continuing the process till the minimum element will be finding. Then close the loop body and console write line the minimum element. Whatever the minimum element will be set, it will be print here. Then close the method print min. Public static void main is the main body. Inside the main body we have two arrays. One array, in the last example the same type, and the second array. In these two arrays, passing array to the function, to the method, print min ARR1, we pass the array1 to the first, then come to the print min method and put here ARR1 elements. ARR0 already settled, so it is 25 and the length is 6. So 1, 2, 5 will be checked. So minimum element is ARR0. ARR0 is 25. 25 is greater than ARR1. 25 is greater than 10. Yes, it's true. So 10 will be initialized to the min variable. So here 10 will be initialized to it. So now the value of min is becoming 10. So again the loop will execute and the value become 2. The I value is 2 and min value is 10. So 10 ARR2 is 20. 10 is greater than 20. It is false. The condition is false. It will not execute the if condition. Now again the value of min is 10 and the value of I become 3. What is the value of the value become 15. So 10 is greater than 15? No. So again the if condition will not execute. The value of min is 10. So the same way it is checking for 40 and 50 and we will find it. The 10 is minimum value. So after completing this cycle, after completing the if and for loop, it will set the value for the min variable 10 and come out of the loop body. Console write line minimum element is here, it will receive the value 10. So that's why minimum element is 10 here. The same way is using for array 2 and print min ARR2. It will just calling the print min method with ARR2 values to be passing here, and the same way it will be calculate and it will find the minimum element from the ARR2. The first element ARR0 is 12 and ARR1 is 23. It will first check 12 is greater than 23. The minimum is 12 now. Then check for 44. Then check for 11. Yes, at the time of 11 it will be true. Then it will be set. Minimum is 11. Then check for 54. 11 is greater than 54? No. So it will not execute the if condition body and come out of the loop. So this is the way, and it will set the minimum element is 11. So this is the way to get the different type of logic by passing array to the method. So this is the way to write different logics. So I think you should be clear about where you need to change the logic, and after that close the main body and close the class. You will get the output, the minimum value from the array. Now we have three kinds of parameterized method: call by value, call by reference, out parameter. This is a wonderful concept. Call by value, it will pass the copy of the original value to the method. Here value type parameter that are pass a copy of the original value to the method rather than the reference. We will understand now. It does not modify the original value. A change made in the past value does not alter or change the actual value. Here in call by value, whenever we use this concept, it will pass a copy of the original value. It is not passing the original value, just the copy. So original value never be modified, and it does not make any change in the original value or actual value. We will understand by using a program. Second, call by reference. Here we use a ref keyword. C# provides a ref keyword to pass an argument as reference type. It passes reference of arguments to the function rather than copying of original value. The changes in past values are permanent and modify the original value. Here in call by reference, we use a ref keyword. This ref keyword is directly interacting the memory where you have actually stored your variable. It will be directly interacting to the storage. So that's why we can say it passed the reference of the variable. It passed the reference of the data. In call by value, it passes the copy of the variable. So it never interacts to the logical address of the memory. But in reference, it will directly interact to the logical address of the memory. So it can directly access the particular data which is originally stored. So it makes the changes permanent. So modify the original values. After that, the out parameter. Out parameter is a wonderful concept. It is included in C#. C# provides an out parameter to pass argument as out type. With the help of out type, we can return multiple values together. This is a wonderful response to us. It is like a reference type, but it does not require a variable to initialize before passing. This is one wonderful feature into it. We are not supposed to initialize the variable before passing. It is depends on the programmer. If programmer wants to initialize the different values other than 0, you should initialize it, but by default it gets 0 for integer type data and null for string type data. Programmer must use out keyword to pass an argument as out type, so you should use the out keyword. It is very useful when a programmer wants to return multiple values from a function. If you want to return multiple values from a function together, it is a wonderful concept. Call by value is very good for our virtual concepts. So what is the virtual concept here? If you are working for a game program, in the game you have many variables, but actual value of the variable will not be changed. So that's why you are seeing you are hitting the target and your counter is increasing, but actually in the game your variable value is not going to be changed. We are using at the background call by value type of concept there. Call by reference. When we need a change permanently in our data, that time we use call by reference. Where? Like we are using to change the value in our database. If you have any initials for you like your name, ID, address, telephone number, if you have any value wrong to your data set, that time you need to make a change permanent to it. So we will use call by reference to it, and whatever the change you will made for your name, it should be permanent all the time. It is not like that you made a change now and it will not be continue for a long period. No, if you are changing now, you should have this change for long period. So that's why call by reference is a wonderful concept to change the values in the data set. Out parameter is a wonderful concept for return a multiple values together. We do not have this type of concept before in the programming systems like in C, C++. In these systems, if you have one method, you are only allowed to return one value from one method. With the help of C# out parameter concept, you can return multiple values from one method. It's really wonderful. Like if you want to return like your data values, like one name, roll number, your address, telephone number. So you need to use 4 methods to return single value. With the help of out parameter, we will use only the one method to return 4 values together. That's why each type of parameterized method having a specific response in our programming system. It is not like that we are using call by value and call by reference is not important. No. If you are using call by value for virtual type of programming, use call by value. Like game programming, we don't need the changes permanent. For call by reference, where we need a permanent changes in our database to return multiple values from the method, we use out parameter definitely. So there is a difference among all of these types of parameterized methods. Now come to the examples. Here the first example, call by value. We will understand here. Programmer is passing value during method call. Here is a namespace call by value. Inside the namespace we have a class program. Inside the class program we have one show method. We are passing here one integer type data, the name is val. We are using here val multiplication assignment operator val. The meaning is val assignment, val multiply by val is a val square to be store the value to the val. This is the way of understanding this particular format. So here console write line value inside the show method val. Whatever the value after square of the val variable will be stored to the val variable and it will be displayed here. No return value, it is a void type, so no return value. Passing parameter, one parameter, non-returning value, show method. Close the method. Now come to the main body. Inside the main body we have one integer type data val initialized by the 50. We create an object for the program class. After that value before calling the method val. This is the method calling. We have here three sections: before calling method, after calling method. So we will see what we are saying in our words. Number one, before calling method. What is the value of val here? 50. It's direct. We have initialized the value here and printing here. So it is showing value before calling method 50. So no change. Program.show. We just call the method show. Whenever we call the method show, it will directly jump to the show method. What is the value here? 50. So we are passing a 50 value here. 50 will come to the val variable and here val variable multiply by val variable. So 50 multiply by 50 and storing to the val variable. So 50 multiply by 50, 2500. Value inside the show method val. So val value is what? 2500. So value inside the show method 2500. It shows 2500. Then the control comes back to the same part of the program from where it is called. So it will be back here. Now console write line value after calling method. First is before calling method, then the calling method, then after calling method. After calling method, we will see again the value after calling method is 50. Before calling method is 50. Inside calling method is 2500. After calling method again 50. What is the meaning of this? The meaning is the changes in past values are not permanent and not modify the original variable value. It's a virtual programming. Virtually we understand the change, but actually it is not making any change to the original value of the variable. Original value of the variable is 50 and after calling again 50. So before calling and after calling again 50, it definitely responds that the original value is not modified. Now come to the next example. Call by reference. Programmer is passing ref during the method call. Just you see here, everything is same in the last program and this program. Everything is same, just we have changed the name here, call by reference. Here is again a show method and we are using a ref keyword. Int val, again the same data member we are passing, just we use here ref keyword. Other things are same, other things we are not changing for definition. Here again in the main body we have val method, val variable with 50. Again we creating object for program class and then value before calling method val 50, the same. Just here we are passing a ref keyword with the value. So show method, again it will access the show method. Inside the show method we are using a ref parameter and it will receive the value 50 and it will be coming here and again it will do the same calculation 2500. Value inside the show method, well, value is 2500, so it will be showing here. Value inside the show method is 2500. Then the control, after completing this show method, the control back to the show method again. Console write line value after calling method val. So what will be the value here? Here the change is permanent. Here the change is permanent. So whatever the change we receive here, this change will be reflect after the calling method. So we will receive here again the value whatever changed. Value after calling the method is again we receive 2500. We understand the changes in past values are permanent and modify the original variable value. So we are proved the particular concept, the modify the original variable value. Call by reference is modifying the value. So this kind of activities we are using to store the value in the database. Now come to the out parameter. Programmer is passing out parameter during method call. Here we are going to think about the multiple values to be returning, but here the first time we are just using for one variable and second time we will use for the two variables. So we can see here the same, the namespace name is out parameter and the program class. Inside the program class we have a show method. Inside the show method we have out int val, just we pass as a out parameter, so we are using keyword out here. Int square initialized by the value 5, just it is only the some type of example we are taking here. The one variable we are taking here, one with data member with 5 value to be initialized. We are initializing this value to the val variable. Square to val means 5 we are initializing here. Then val multiply by val and storing the value to the val. So here 5 multiplied by 5 is 25. Now close the show body. Come to the main body. Inside the main we have a val variable with 50 value. Program object. Now value before passing out variable. What is the value here? 50 again. So we receive 50. Program show out val passing out argument. So this is out type. It is working as a reference type. So definitely the value is going to be changed. So here we change the value to 25. Okay. So we are not giving here the console write line statement. So it is not displaying the value inside the show method. But outside the show method you can see the control back. Here the calculation is done. The value for the value is 25 now. It is changed from 50 to 25. Now the control back to the show method. Console write line value after receiving the out variable. What is the value here? The value is becoming 25. So it means the change is permanent. Whatever the value is changed inside the show method, this reflection outside the show method as well. So value after receiving the out variable is 25. It is pretty clear. Now close the main body, close the class and close the namespace. Come to the next example. Here is the example for to return the multiple values using out parameter. Namespace out parameter the same, and here the program class. Inside the program class we have a show method. You can see here the show method with two different arguments, integer type A, integer type B. Both arguments are out type. So we are using out int A, out int B, the out parameters. After that inside the show method we have one square data member initialized by 5. Here we have a and B. We initialize square to A, square to B. So 5 value to A, 5 value to B. A multiply A is 25. B multiply B is 25 again. After that close the show method. Come to the main body. Inside the main body we have two variable values, two data members. Val1 value 50, val2 value 100. Program object console write line value before passing val1, the val1 value whatever we have here is 50, and next line val2 100. Okay, so we receive the value before passing, here is the next line val1, it gets the value 50 and val2 100. So 50 and 100 we already passed. Before passing value to the method we have the value 50 and 100 here. Now come to the show method and out val1, out val2, val is 50, val2 is 100. Passing out argument, we will go to the show method. Then inside the show method we will see A become 50 and B become 100. Here we change the value to 5 and 5 to A, 5 to B. So these values are definitely changed. So these values become 5, 25 and B also 25. Now after that, control back to the show method and already executed. So come to the next statement, console write line, value after passing, next line then val1 and next line to val2. So val1 value and val2 value. What is the value for val1? The value for val1 is returned by A, value for val2 is returned by B. A value is 25 and B value is 25. So that's why the value here 25 and 25. So that's why we are receiving the result value after passing 25 and 25 for val1, val2. But here you can see we are not using any return statement, but we receive the value here. So out parameter having a power to return multiple values together. So we have returned here two values together from one method show. So this is a multiple values returned using out parameter. This example explains the particular theme. So now close the main body, close the class and close the namespace. Thank you. Thank you so much. Subscribe my channel, like, share and comments. Subscribe. I'm seeing so many learners are watching the videos but they are not subscribing. Subscribe it. Thank you so much. Your thumb is motivating me. Like my channel, like my videos and share to the students who need really to understand the concept properly about the C#, C++, and I will make some more projects in the real time to be showing the results in a very good way. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer if you have any question. Just write the comments and I will happy to answer you. Thank you so much.